So, what do I know about the American psychiatrist Jolly West? Not much. He died in New York State? No, probably not. So, I had taken a vacation to New England quite a few years ago and was just able to like make really quick connections between academics of Ivy Leagues while I was on campus, and F. Scott Fitzgerald was one of them while I was in Princeton. And Jolly West was not an Ivy League graduate, even though he had an influence, a grand influence in psychiatry, I guess by way, or I guess I mean like literally by way of being connected with the American government. I do think that I'm actually just going to sideline this conversation or change the direction. So John F. Kennedy is the last real president. He's trying to shut down the CIA. He gets executed by the CIA. Was it Nixon that was after him, or was it... No, I think it was Nixon. I find that so interesting that, like, yeah, was Nixon ugly in the eyes of the Americans? Yeah. No one could follow up with JFK. The Ivy League, the privilege. Okay, back to Jolly West. Psychiatry doesn't have a cure for any mental illness, but it's very legitimate being propped up by government for the sake of being able to do military research. And you know, if I ever had the opportunity, but I guess if I ever had, it's like when I decide to maybe want to have a serious interest in psychiatry, I could totally I don't know, I don't want to say I can become a clinical psychologist, but like you can do research in psychiatry. Like you can do research in psychology and then maybe have it be applicable in psychiatry. But this idea of him being like the guy to do mind control research, I'm totally into that. I'm willing to verbiate. I'm willing to speak in a way that makes me seem so naively vulnerable that people around me change their behavior. And I find that that's a very... I would love to be diagnosed with something on the grounds that it gives me a direction. I think my curiosity is just grounded in a type of realism that is socially unconventional, for the sake of like enslaving the working class. Because if it's like that, it's true that these like extremely wealthy people are extremely socially disobedient, and examples of that are like just how white collar crime is like legislated differently, or interpreted differently in the courts, such that they get different sentencings, and it must be because like the motivations are different, just because you can't necessarily set precedent amongst the white collars, as they're the ones that own the relationship between, like they own the class system in which the government functions, and also the legal system operates. You need to have like, the problem I have with my creativity is that, like, you can't tell, but like there's like 50 books just like all right down there, and then there's like 40 books right there, and I just acquired them slowly very recently, like in the last year and a half, to read, and I must have read like 6 of them, and it's because I've always been in this like transient moving state, and now I finally have an opportunity to read them. But like there comes a point where like if you read enough, you're either going to double down on your morals, or you're going to realize you have no morals. And in my case, I don't have any. And it's not necessarily my fault. And so I don't blame myself. Intelligence is a function of sexuality, as far as I'm concerned. Like if you can deny someone water, and this is something I'm kind of a little bit too interested in. I've thought about it for a little bit longer than, or you know what, I thought about it so long that actually it became almost integrated into my brain. If you deny someone water, you can enslave them. I must have just been really thirsty one day, and like it just like hit me that it's like I would be willing to like experience slavery to quench my thirst. And like if I'm interested in the work of Jolly West, and I'm interested in mind control research, and we have to have an enemy, I would love to see what I could do denying somebody water. I want to be vulnerable in this video. Like I want to be vulnerable on the internet and like have people to talk to, but like what's the point? Like it's not, internet fame definitely is toxic and detrimental to a person's mental health, but like even talking to like 5 people or like having 5 followers, it's meaningless. like the usefulness of psychiatry. What I've noticed about myself is that when I develop an interest originally, what will happen is I pursue it like wholeheartedly, but then it starts to change me, and I'm like, well, do I want to give up this well-constructed self-persona I've created for myself as a shield against the truth? And the answer is no. When you read literature, and not just ad copy, that of advertising, you develop empathy, and there's no negative consequence to that. So long as there's a morality that you're working towards, because exposing yourself to like critical takes of what creates your meaning is actually devastating. And I don't have words specifically to, I don't have like medical concepts to speak to. The only thing I know of is like ego death. I don't even know what that is, but it might be relevant. It's just like the death of your incentive structure, which is problematic if you don't have the right coping mechanisms to integrate back into society. I think not a lot about, I don't think about a lot of things. I think about a few things a lot. I'm like, I don't understand how people do undergraduate degrees that have 5 classes a semester, every semester for the entire degree, because it changes you. And it's like, that could be a healthy thing, but it's not a healthy thing in my case. It's actually devastating because I just don't know who I am. There's nothing, there's no positive. I'm scared to experience affection. I consider it a threat. I consider empathy a threat. Jolly West represents a hero to me because he used his intelligence at some level to be productive without helping other people. That's what I want. Like, I want to be economically productive. I want to be a contributing member to my society, given that me and society, or the players in society, are on the same page. And it's like, listen, we're not working towards the welfare of the human race. There's of no benefit my work in a meritocracy. It's only meant to create division. However, you get a paycheck, you get to die with some merit. I had gone to the convenience store and I bought, and I'm just looking at the wrappers now, like a Kit Kat bar and like a Kinder Bueno, and it's full of preservatives. Like, it's spiking my brain, it's spiking my body. Someone's getting away with a type of behavior that's really dark, and I kind of want a slice of that world. I just want a slice of anything that'll get me to university, really. Classics represents that. If you can understand how humans are myth-making machines, you can create myths that are complicated enough to scramble their brains. See you.